11:15. Yeah, I'm going to stream it on the speaker. Check on you, check on you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Motivating Monday. It's another edition, and again, we are streaming on Spreaker, and I will send anybody who wants a copy of the interview, including our wonderful guest, a copy. I see familiar faces. So glad to see all the familiar faces, and thank you guys for the support. Also, thanks to our vendors over there. I see Kirk is working double time today. If you guys get a chance to see our vendors, please support them. If you need real water, you know, when you see this, when you're in the store and it says purified water, you know, that water is not the best water. Sadly, what they use to purify the water is a carcinogen. So, you know, we have fresh water over there, alkaline water. It's over there. I usually try to get 2 gallons to at least last until the next Monday. Also, we have our food in the back. Or shout out to our Jamaican Puyaka. Back there, actually out there grilling for real. So that's what I'm talking about. And so I'm so excited. You know, each week we get these great guests. And shout out to Edwin. Edwin is in the audience. Also, shout out to Jacqueline, who's also going to be up here. I told her the next week. She has got to check her schedule, but I'm just saying. But each week we get, you know, mostly entrepreneurs, but educators, people who had a degree of success, people who live in life. But the thing is, so I don't know, Eartha, I think it must be your magical space. Shout out to Eartha, this is her place, of course. And shout out to Typhoon. And Grandma Edna, we celebrated a birthday on Friday, had her event here. And Grandma Edna is going to say a few words also before we get started. But this space, I don't know what it is. Each week we get like a great, not only a great story, but a certain connection that happens. And I think it's just y'all. I think it's the people. I make it feel like Big Mama House. I don't know what it is. And so this week we have 2 people that again, you know, that I really do respect and appreciate. And I really like a lot. Konan actually is scheduled to be here tonight, and I understand now, you know, he's meeting with a certain person who's a certain powerful person who owns a certain radio network. Y'all may know her. And so he had to go to D.C., so hopefully he'll make it back tonight. But if he doesn't, we understand, because you know how that goes. If Big Mama say, hey, sit down, I got some idea to talk about. You ain't gonna be like, I gotta go back to Baltimore. So we understand. But my guest today, I was saying, you know, Grandma Edna, do you want to say your piece now? Or do you want to say it later on? Come on, before we get started, Grandma Edna had a wonderful event on Friday. I love the fact that Grandma said, okay, definitely. Thank you, Donna, for being patient with us this week. Grandma Edna's handshake is more powerful than anybody in this room, so I don't know about the elders' feet. I think she might be an imposter. I told Grandma Edna, you know, I felt bad because, you know, Friday I was supposed to be here, and I saw Grandma Edna, she texted me, and I was avoiding Grandma Edna, y'all, so Mark Clark ain't nothing. I ain't nothing. But I know she ain't playing. That's right, everyone got to put to work. You want to sit down? You want to do it?
I just want to come up here for a solid second. No, I ain't on my chair. Got people looking at me presenting the handicap sign. So, Friday was my birthday. Saturday was my son's birthday, who was deceased, that was murdered in a nursing home 23 years ago. Saturday was my great-granddaughter's birthday, the 8th. The 7th was my granddaughter's birthday. The 21st was my youngest daughter's birthday, who cooked the food. And the 24th was my oldest daughter's birthday, who's a motivational speaker, fitness trainer, author, paramobile for John Hopkins Industry. And then the 7th was my birthday. So I decided I was counseling my birthday because my daughter had surgery. It was a lot of moving, slow pieces. Eartha called me up and said, "Oh no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that, Grandma. And we're going to have something. We're going to do something for you." So I called a couple of really nice friends. Eartha made a flyer. And Eartha put on the flyer that we were doing light refreshment. Well, I'm from the country, so everybody that was here know that country people cook. So we came up here with a country agenda. So my family showed up, and I just want to thank everybody that showed up, all the young people. I want to thank Vaughn, I call her Vivi. She danced up in here for me because I've been knowing her for so long. And the young guy that sung Out of Artists. Out of Artists is a composer, a songwriter, a musician. He has been writing and singing when he was in my church youth group. He used to sit on telephone books at 10, 11 years old to play the organ and sing. This boy is like, I have a group of young people called Spirit Emotion Freedom Students. And I'm not going to take my time, but I just want y'all to know you have to credit the young people. I have a group of young people that's Spirit Emotion Freedom Students. Y'all are today talking about stop the violence, education. These young people are young adults now. In 2014, they did a Stop the Violence program that they was awarded by the mayor in Baltimore City. 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old young people. They wrote a bill to stop the bad language that people use to identify children with in 2014. So I was doing video magazine with young videographers in 2008, just to clear the slate. So I might be running a little slow as a raw elder, but I'm still a hit of the game because I see what y'all doing. We got to learn as black people that you got to do what we did. You got to first eat together because the stomach controls the mind. If you're hungry, you can't think about nothing. So first you got to eat together, and then you got to learn how to talk together, and then you got to learn how to live and respect each other together. Until the African man, y'all can say y'all black, y'all can say whatever you want, but until the African man learn the code of African living, we're going to keep doing the things we doing, sending our children on the street to be murdered, that's our fault. Letting our daughters produce no-name babies, that's our fault. And let the young generational people, the yuppie people, whatever language y'all took from the English written dictionary and disrespect the elders, which is our fault. Unless we go back to your name doesn't mean a thing, because I don't care how I said it Friday night, I'm going to say it now. I don't care what Mercedes-Benz you drive in. I don't care whose name you got on top of your list. You're black in America. And this ain't our land. It's stolen. So until our people feel like, don't care how much money they get, don't care what side of the street they want to live on, don't care what gated community they want to prosper in, when they step out their car and stand on the earth that's stolen, you're black in America. I want y'all young people to get that. You're black in America. You can do what you want. This is a European soil. They all say, we was here before that. We sure was. The Olmec here was here 3,000 years ago. We were all here before that. But that slave ship, that Holocaust, that Hebrew Holocaust in the river, taught me to respect the people that that was on board that ship. So when everybody said, oh, I don't want to talk about slavery, I don't want to talk about this, that's why you where you at in America. Because you don't know how to talk about things that's your ancestral roots. So I'm going to get off here. I'm going to thank everybody that showed up for my birthday. I want to thank everybody that donated for our first project to get the air conditioner fixed in the building. We will have a continuous project. We got a jar somewhere around here with a red lid on it. And I'm the person, I don't beg. The scripture said don't beg. But I use reality work. If you want to come in here with Eartha and you want to sit in here and look important, then we should have important people have air conditioning and things we need in the building. So I'm just telling y'all, this is a solid request. We're going to set that jar anywhere in the building. I ain't asking nobody to put any money in it, but I'm just telling y'all, all of y'all looking real good. But we'll feel much better if we're not perspiring. We're a little ass. Thank you, Mom, for giving me this moment. Thank y'all for sitting. And aren't you the lady that I met that made the first African game? Did you make the African game? You look just like her. I met a lady with an African group that made the first African game that was sold in America. She looked like her. Wow. So here we go. Here you go, Mom. Thank you for stepping down and let me step up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You're
Mark.
standing on your shoulders, so come
Thank
on.
you, Mark.
Watch your step now. Hold up now.
And
Hold
thank
up.
you, Mark, for showing people I got a slight handicap.
Be careful.
Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you, Grandma.
Grandma, you said you had the jar around here. You know, nowadays we do like Cash App and Zelle. You take that as well, right?
I take everything, cash that, bell, chime.
All right.
And then you can walk up to.
All right. You got me that?
I'll put that in
Yes,
there. I'll put that cash app right here.
Come on up now.
Thank you, Donna.
And thank you, Grandma, and we love you so much. And I just cherish every moment. For those of us who were blessed to have elders in our family, every single moment, we cherish y'all because, you know, it's like that information, that life that you live and you pour on to us is invaluable. Right? Also, so shout out to, I have if you guys want my delicious beverage back there, cucumber lemonade right back there. It's free. I own it. Well, my friend owns it, and I sell it, but it's free here. Get you some ice, get you some delicious. I'm telling you, it's called delicious beverage, but when you drink it, y'all, it's delicious. You're gonna be like, this is delicious. And that's not the infused, so don't be scared. That's not infused. That's just regular. That's the regular stuff. So, our guest tonight, our guest speaker is again somebody who I was thinking about you today, Donna, and I'm like, this is my friend. Even though we've only met maybe 1.5 times in person, she's my friend because, you know, this social media thing is crazy. It's a very interesting dynamic. Alice and I had this interesting thing. So you know how, I guess we always talk about the power of your words, the power of your thoughts, the power of this and that. We're living in a time where our thoughts and all those things are coming to life. Allison and I had, for those who don't know, of course, I talk about my wife all the time, but she's a news anchor in D.C. She had this fan on social media. He used to check in with her every day on Twitter, right? Checked in with her. And so then he started checking with me every day. So we developed this relationship where he was our friend on social media, right? And he passed away. So we never met him in person. But he checked in on us every day. His family checked in on us. So we had this relationship, but we never physically met him. We went to his funeral. Here's the part that's deep. So we go to the funeral, and of course, it's in Prince George's County where everybody knows Allison. So, you know, Allison comes to the funeral. It was like a whole bunch of like people, oh my God, Allison's here, right? And so the mother and the family knew how much he loved her and how much he loved us, and they came over and they hugged, and that part was emotional. So here he was in the funeral, laid out in the casket. But we physically never knew him. We just knew his essence. We just knew him online. So when we saw him physically, we didn't know him. But when we hit that car and started driving and talking about him, we broke up. And I was like, that is crazy. We physically did not have a connection, but his essence, we knew who he was. And so Donna, as I thought about you today, I was like, me and Donna become close, Jack. We're tight now. Even though we have not physically been that way, because I know her. Now, years ago when I used to work out at the gym, Maryland Athletic Club, Donna was the person at the gym that's just working her ass off.
Too much energy.
That was her. If it's teaching a class back then, if it's on the heavy bag, if it's on whatever she's doing, she was doing it. And so I would just see her from a distance. And then, over time, I followed her on social media. Then COVID happened, and I think I just started to like her pictures, her working out, and then she started supporting me in my reinvention journey. And coming from Donna, who's like a serious fitness person, I was fired up. I was like, she's like, keep up the good work, Mark, blah, 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 blah. Then I also saw Donna, she was supporting me and Allison. So next thing you know, like I said, we kind of like boom, boom, boom. And so when I asked her to come, I was like, I really do feel like I know, her character, what she stands for, what she's about, your story. And so I said I wanted to share because being the father of 3 girls, that confidence, that moving through this world, when you happen to be a beautiful woman, and we know what happens, all the conversations and the comments and the offhand comments, I always just am inspired, and I actually ask questions to these women that I see because I'm trying to solve the riddle. Because what I already know is that even though my daughters have had their grandparents' support, had their parents' support, that second guessing, those doubts, and all that kind of stuff, it still happens. And I can't, you try to get to the bottom of it, you're like, what is it? I mean, they got examples, they got mommy, they got daddy, they got grandma, they got grandpa, but still, they have those self-doubts, they have those insecurities, even though they have success. And so when I see a woman out there, in addition to, again, obviously Donna, physically looking how she looks, plus 50 is amazing, but also Donna is a successful entrepreneur. And I'm talking about successful. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, I got to get Donna on to talk about this. So Donna, take us back to where it all started. Where were you born? Was it here? Was it there? What happened?
Okay. Well, Mark, you know that I'm not big on speaking, but for you, we're going to go for it.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Donna, can you repeat the last name?
Sure. Donna Jowers, Jowers. My name is Donna. Married now to Jowers. My maiden name is Bell, Donna Bell.
B-E-L-L?
B-E-L-L, yes. Grew up in West Baltimore, across from Coppin State College, directly across the street from Coppin State College. Of course, all of that is torn down now. And I come back and look and it's like, oh, okay. So a lot going on over there. But, grew up Coppin State College, across the street from Coppin State College, West Baltimore. Poor. Parents didn't. I had 7 siblings. I was the 5th child. 5 brothers. So, it was rough. I was always honestly, a tomboy. I wanted to play with the boys. I wanted to play with my brothers. You 5 brothers, you either, they go get some doll babies. Go get out my way. So I had to prove myself. That, okay, I can, play sport, especially football. I was really, really good in football. I had to become really, really good in football because my brothers played and I wanted to play. So I end up becoming the star player. So that's when I realized my athleticism. That okay, I got something here. But unfortunately, back then, girls couldn't play football. So I couldn't go to school to play, couldn't go nowhere else to play, so we played street ball. And now every time they got a football game, they want to get Donna. Donna was the quarterback, the wide receiver, Donna put it all together. So that's when I realized my absolute athleticism kicked in. So from there, back then we played games like tag, where you had to run, hide and go seek, all those things where you were moving your body, no sitting home with the games and all that other stuff. I could do any sport you name, I could do it. The only thing I could never get was double dutch. I could never get double dutch, and I'm still trying to get double dutch. Yeah, but that's where my love for running came. My love for just being active came is just growing up with 5 brothers and just wanting to be accepted with them. And then after that, when I hate that I keep saying, but anyway.
It's fine. This is
Yo, guess
family,
what?
baby.
Yes,
This is family,
I feel like I'm
baby.
in a good environment, so I can
That's
be
right.
here.
You can be
Okay.
here. We are not.
And just to let you know, I didn't. My parents, of course, couldn't send me to college. I didn't go to college. I barely graduated because again we were poor. My last year in high school we got evicted, so I couldn't. I ended up not graduating, and that was devastating for me for years. For years, that ate at me. And not only did it eat at me, it made me feel less qualified to do anything.
Mm.
It really, really, like, even talking about it, I feel the pain, because it, back then, it was like the community we had, everybody was just kind of like, everybody was struggling. The things that the kids got nowadays, man, if I had a little bit of what they got now, and a little bit of support, I probably would have made it. So people look at me now and they think I was born for silver spoon. The light's been off many days. The pink slip been on the door many days. And that's why some people say, oh my gosh, how did you get this? How did you get that? I never worked to be rich. I never worked because I wanted to be rich. I worked because I never wanted to see a pink slip.
Mm.
I never wanted to see a pink slip, and I tell people that all the time. It's not that I wanted to be rich, I never wanted to see a pink slip on my door. Even for my kids, growing up as a single parent with my kids, it was tough. In my 20s, I was just figuring it out. Like Mark said, I was at the Maryland Athletic Club. I joined the Maryland Athletic Club because I used to run at Emerson track. But when the weather was bad, you used to run at Emerson? Yeah. And when I was running at Emerson track, I was probably the youngest one out there, and I used to see people in their 60s and 70s say, "That's right, baby, get it in now. You're gonna be glad you did later, And I have much respect for the elders, much respect. I've never prayed for anything other than wisdom, and so that's why when I run into the elders, I'm always pulling from them. What you got for me? I don't and not to take anything away from anybody going off the speaking and the philosophies these days, but I want to know what you've been through. I want to know let me hear your testimony. Let me hear not what you read in the book, but what you've done. So that's where I'm at. That's why I went. Even when I the church I used to belong to, I always sat amongst the elders, the mothers of the house. And I still know that they're still praying for me. I feel it. I know it. Somebody's praying for me. Somebody's praying for me. But anyway, back to the so when I went to the Maryland Athletic Club, I was running instant track. If it was raining or anything, I ended up joining the Maryland Athletic Club. So I was in there, working out, doing everything. And I would go to this kickboxing class all the time, and the instructor was really, really good. So one day, he pushed me in front of the class, and I was like, oh no, I can't. I'm looking at, where? He was like, because he had to leave. So he pushed me in front of the class, and from there, it just took off. I had the hottest class. Sometimes, when God tells you to move, you don't move, He gonna push you. He gonna go ahead and give you that little push and let you know that's where you belong. Again, here go me thinking, I'm not qualified. I'm not educated. I'm not good enough. Really. And people look at me and say, like, you really thought that about yourself? Like, yeah, me, me, little old me. And so it's very important, like when you're young, when your kids are young, is what you instill in them is so important. Because my parents didn't instill that in me, and I feel like that's what I missed out on. That foundation. But God didn't forget about me. It was in my DNA. And God had already had a plan for me. So, when he pushed me in front of the class, I ended up becoming the top instructor in the gym. And people would come from everywhere, like, did you see that? She fired. They would be in there dying. And I'm like, oh, you got it. You can, go the extra mile. Let's go. Because we don't know what we're made of, again, unless we're pushed. We're pushing. We go to the gym, we go to work out, but if we ain't got a trainer pushing us, We're going to slack on, oh, we're supposed to do 15, oh, I'm doing 8.
I did it today.
Yeah, that's what we do. And that's the importance of somebody that holds you accountable, having an accountability partner, you know, in the workout arena. Get somebody that's going to push you, you know, not going to let you settle. I know what you're made of, you know. So, you know, in class, after that, I went out on leave because I had to have, you know, I had to have foot surgery. So I went on leave. So when I came back, it was about 2 months later, the whole club, it had been changed. Different faces. Y'all know what I mean? We wasn't there no more. So they didn't want me to teach the way I teach. They had their own program they wanted me to teach. So I wasn't really feeling it or whatever. So I just kind of like left. You know, so I put that, I'm like, okay, I'm still going to be working out, but I'm not going to be teaching. But that's always been my passion, is to teach. So I ended up going to, at this same time when I was working at the Brighton Athletic Club, I was also working at In-N-Out Bail Bonds. We had started a bonding company back in 2000, and we were, you know, my husband, he wasn't my husband then, but he had got his license and everything. So he asked me, I'm not going up there to work there. Like, I'm not going, I mean, he had this little hole in the wall where guys was in there doing whatever they wanted to do. And I'm like, oh, no. I ain't going up in there. So anyway, he ended up moving it, and I said, okay, for a few months I'll go. Make a long story short, I went in there, and I grew the business. I grew it. I'm like, okay, they gotta go, this gotta move, we gotta do this. You know, took the necessary steps to grow the business. And it's a big, bonding company. Yeah, Park Heights and Cold Spring, In-N-Out Bail Bond, y'all might know me. Yeah, I bailed out, 2-3 generations of folks, you know, up there. But, you know, so after I, you know, started doing that, everybody started getting their license in the bail bond industry back in, y'all know it, like everybody, 3% down, oh yeah, go to this person, go to that person, whatever. And again, you know, here I go get pushed again. We end up visiting North Carolina, and we said, okay, the opportunity to open up down there was there. So we end up, something happened and now, you know, with our kids. So we gotta get them their mind straight. They start acting up. So we gotta get them out. We gotta relocate. One thing I want to say to single parents is that you gotta stop looking for people to save your kids. You got to save your own kids. I'm trying to tell you, you got to make a way. You got to save your own kids. You know, and that's what we end up having to do. We gotta get them, and they were like doing a bunch of dumb stuff, and we like, what are y'all thinking about? I know you wasn't raised that way. You know, but we end up relocating, moving out of state, and you know, they made them come with us. We made them come with us because we just had to put them in a different environment. It just went crazy. It just, you know, they were doing all kinds of stuff, you know, and we were just, and they ended up going to jail, but we didn't bail them out. They had to sit, you know, tough love. You know, I watch parents do it all the time, keep running in there and get, as soon as their kids do something, you're going to run in there and get them, you're going to keep running in there and get them. And I'm like, no, let them sit. You know, let them sit. They need to see. It's real, you know. You keep thinking you're going to do what you want to do, not going to obey the law, you know. So we moved them out of state, and that's when we became, I think, once we brought our kids in, and I began to show the kids the business. Because I realized that, like I said, I had to save my children. I realized that I had to provide an opportunity for them to work. Because they were doing dumb stuff, they dropping out of school, they cutting class and everything. So I'm like, okay, we got to figure out how to provide a way for them. You know, we wanted them to go to college, but they don't want to go to college. You know, so I had to show them that anything you want in life, as long as you work hard for it, you can get it. But you can talk all you want to talk with kids. If you ain't got nothing to show them, they ain't listening. I'm trying to tell you. You know, so, you know, we began to do little stuff with them, go and you know, we bought them transportation and things like that, trying to keep them on track and still run the business. And not only did we bring them down there, we had to bring some friends down there too. I'm big on reaching back and trying to help somebody else. But the problem is always that they want what you got.
Come on now.
But they don't want to work for it. You know? It's bad. But still, I don't give up on them, especially when they're young. You know? And be mindful that the business that we're in, I see it firsthand what's going to happen if somebody don't snatch you and do something. I used to try to save the world because I know what I had to endure as a child. But then I realized I could try and save one at a time. We good. When we went on trips and things like that, I would take the kids and take at least 10 or 15 other kids. And they gonna tell you. They got testimonies to tell you what Miss Donna gonna do. And even when they come and work for me, you ain't just getting a job. Sometimes I would come back to Baltimore and get people to come down there and work. They're like, man, I can work for $10 at home. I'm what I'm down here for. Go on back home. This ain't for you. Because what I was not only doing, I'm giving you a job, but I'm also teaching you life skills. I'm also teaching you how to repay your credit. You know, where we going to be in 5 years? Preparation. You know what I mean? Not just what I do for my kids, but what I do for my kids, I'm going to do for yours too. So, and people were always like, can my son come down? Can my son come down? But you can want it for them, but they got to want it. They got to want it. You know, and even driving through here, you know, driving up here, I'm looking like, you know, I'm kind of like heartbroken because I'm like, dang, it's still a lot of people that needs to be saved. It's like a lot of us don't believe that we can get up out of here. We can. I ain't got all the education in the world. I ain't graduated from, you know, I don't have a college degree. So forgive me if I don't speak your language. You know what I mean? I'm hood, for real, for real. You know, I speak hood, I speak Ebonics. I mean, people look at me and size me up all the time until they get to know me, you know. And I had kids, even driving through here, I see kids out hey, look at you. That's what they like. That's what I'm going to give them because that's what's getting their attention. When I first bought my first Bentley, I didn't buy it for me. I bought it for my kids because that's what impressed them. I could ask them, I wouldn't even drive the car, you know. But I bought it because that's what impressed them. So now their mind is like, okay, we can work, we can get that. They didn't see mommy work 16, 18, 20-hour days. Putting in work. Ain't nobody gave me nothing. Nothing. Let's make that clear. So when they see me driving around in my $350,000 car, be mindful I worked my tail off for the last 23 years. I'm living now. I was just telling a young lady here, I'm playing pickleball, I'm training, I'm doing the things that I love because I put in the work. You know, did nobody give me nothing. People look, I think about Barack Obama all the time. It's like, y'all don't know that he became president, but do you realize what he did before he became president? Y'all looking at the outcome, but do you know the process?
Come on now.
Do you know all the stuff he had to endure from folks that don't look like him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, people want what you got, but they don't want to take the steps you took to get there. When I first got to North Carolina, I slept in the office. Thanksgiving dinner in the office. They're like, you crazy. I am. I ain't broke no more. Sorry, people say money ain't everything. Money can give you a little peace of mind at night when you know them bills gonna be paid. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Money don't make me. You know, it don't make me, but it has made life a little bit better for me and my kids. And now my kids, I taught them to run the business. I can go and travel and do and enjoy the fruits of my labor because for the last 20, anybody that knows me know that I ain't telling no lie. I ain't telling no lie. You ain't never seen me nowhere because I don't go nowhere but to work. I don't go nowhere but to work in the gym. I live in the gym. They didn't know. I live in the gym. And the reason, the same qualities, the same things that I use, that I apply in the gym. Get up, have a plan, be intentional. What you going to do today? You know what I'm saying? Get my hour in, get my hour or 2 hour in, and then go to work. Consistency, you know, resilience, get up, go. And, you know, I really wish I was speaking to some kids. Because, see, you guys are like my age and older. But I really need to be telling this to the kids that think that it's going to happen overnight. It ain't happening overnight. Y'all know that. Y'all know that. You know, but, you know, the same things that I, like in my fitness journey, I applied in my you know, as an entrepreneur. You know, just being consistent. Just keep on stacking and stacking and stacking and saving and saving and saving. I ain't got nobody to impress. Because I don't care what you got. And I've always been that way. I don't care what somebody else got. I don't care how somebody else look. I know how I want to look. I know how I want to feel. I know my father is 82 years old. He's still building decks. He's still hanging sheetrock. He's still doing all of that. I know that just like him, I want optimum living when I get his age. I don't want to just get old. You know, I want to be the best that I can be when I get his age. You know, I swim. You know, I play. The grandkids can't believe how I run circles around their parents. They really can't believe it.
I love it.
So,
around their parents.
Yeah. So, but so the success is, I contribute that my work ethics. Even if you see me on a pickleball court, they be like, "Who play with her? She got too much energy." You know. But that's just who I am. I come to bring life. I never come to take from anybody. I'm always coming to give. I'm always coming to sow. When that law you reap what you sow, yeah. I don't care how much God gonna forgive you, but you planted it, it's coming back. And I'm a firm believer in that. I believe in my success in business is because I know how to treat people. I treat people how I want to be treated. You know, I'm big on build the people and they will build the business. I'm big on that. You know, I used to okay, we got to open another office because so-and-so want to come down. You know, this person want to come. Always trying to make opportunity for somebody else and let them see yeah, you know, we can do it. You can do it. You can come up out of where you come from. You know? But, Mark Clark always making a big, people I see every day, they make a big deal, the car, the this and that, or whatever. And I'll never think that, okay, I got a story to tell. But yeah, when I realize that there are people out there that come from where I come from. You know what I mean? Come from what I come from and don't believe that they can make it out. You can make it out. You got, and they say, we as a people, we can't afford this. We can afford whatever we want to afford. We gotta get our priorities straight. That's all. We gotta come together. Yes. It's always about who got more than me. No, you can ask. One thing I ain't is a hater. One thing I ain't never been is a hater. I'm always trying to uplift. I'm always trying to motivate. I'm always trying to help to groom. To help this. No, because I know where I was, and as a child, having nothing, you always wish you had somebody to take you by the hand and help you. But God. God had a plan. I had to go through the process. God always had a plan. I had to go through the process. The process ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. But what's on the other side? Yeah, that's what I'll take it. Yeah, that's how I want to look. That's what I want to drive. That's how I want to live. I mean, when people used to come to my house in North Carolina, they're like, you ain't got no furniture. Well, I only spend 4 hours a day here. So I really don't care, But, there's a lot of sacrifices in being successful, And everybody always say, and I always wanted to bring everybody with me. Everybody with me. I'm like, come on. It's long, when they say it's only at the top, it is. Because it's like your vision, they have to capture the vision, like where you're really going, what you really want. You know what I mean? The vision of the house, the vision of, the business. And my employees are big on, my employees understand my vision. And that is to say, anytime anybody walk across that threshold, they are not a number, they are a person. And so we have outreach programs like when we deal with, like I was telling her earlier, we've had generations. I've had like two and three generations of criminals in the family. And I'm constantly trying to tell them, don't do what your daddy did. And they'll send, their parents will send them to me, Miss Donna, take care of them. Miss Donna, look, I told them, because we as parents, we can't get through to them. But if they see somebody that got what they want, or, they might listen. Like even with my kids, I used to always pray, God, put somebody in my son's life that they're going to listen to. Because they ain't listening to me. And that was always my prayer. I'm not, go ahead, Mark, I know I'm talking to you.
No. First of all, keynote speaker, Donna Jowers.
Yeah.
This is, you're always hesitant to speak. You're amazing. What are you talking about? Book her today, because you're exactly what you're saying. Why do they hire Donna Jowers to speak at the women's conference? First of all ladies want to look like you. They want to know the secret. They want to know how did you get here. And then you got stuff that we ain't got. And so you are exactly what you're saying.
But here's my thing, it's just stuff. People get caught up on the stuff, but get caught up on the character, not just the stuff. You know what I mean? Because to God be the glory for where He's brought me from. And like I said, money, we need money. People get caught up in money and everything. Like I said, it helps me sleep at night.
When did it click? When did the success part click? Because I know, like you said,
I really never.
You just grinded.
I was just in hustle mode. I never thought about being rich. I did. When my kids had to remind me, Mom, you know you're rich. My grandkids tell me now, how much is grandma really worth? How much they be Googling me? Like nobody, I'm low key. It's not big it's not, I think when I first, I'm very private, but when I first went and bought my first Bentley, everybody thought, y'all got to think like, y'all late. Y'all about 8 years late. I've been here $1 million. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't all about the money. It wasn't all about the money. It's like, okay, who's up next? Who can we save next? What is my legacy going to be like? How I'm going to show my kids, my sons. They're like, look, you got to get out there and work for it. Ain't nobody going to give it to you. And it's not, I never wanted to do the business that I'm in. I never really wanted to do that. But it's just like God said, everything you do is ministry. Everything. And it just, I feel like breaking what just saying it. It's like when they come across that threshold, I'm held accountable. God holds me accountable for how I treat them. So people get caught up in, she run the bell, she make this and that money. Yeah, but y'all we on the front line. We on the front line. We see these, they kids coming in and out. We want to make sure that it's not a revolving door. When they come out, we try to, get them a job and things like that. But the success just, I honestly, I didn't realize I'm successful until really I started getting on social media. I'm like, I got that. Oh, yeah. What? So, y'all making a big deal out of this stuff. And then you see all these speakers talking about stuff, and I'm like, but what? One thing I don't like is philosophers. You'll forgive me, because they read it out of a book, and ain't nobody done it. So I'm big on, but what you do? I ain't perfect, I ain't done it all, but I've done enough. I've done enough. And when it comes to health and wellness, I'm big on sharing and speaking to, our people on, y'all think COVID did something? Wait till y'all see what this food is going to do in the next 10 years. I'm trying to tell you. We better learn to grow our food, and now they even give you processed seeds. You know what I'm saying? We better learn to eat right. We better learn to balance. We say that we can do all things through Christ, but why we can't turn that plate down? Why we can't turn it down? You take your car to get an oil change every so many miles, every so many months. Why we can't fast and turn down the plate for 3 days? My granddaughter, I'm dealing with her. She's diagnosed with high blood pressure. She's 15. I'm like, not today, not on my watch. She likes to eat. And I want her to eat, but I also don't want you to die. I want to see, it breaks my heart to know that you at 15 years old, you suffering from high blood pressure. That's not good. So let's, I'm trying to teach her how you can eat, but just watch what you eat. I drink a gallon of water a day. You know how many people now suffering from kidney diseases and stuff they won't drink water. They're like, well, I did have 2 bottles. 2 bottles? You a whole person. How much you weigh? You know what I'm saying? So we got to be mindful is that if we don't take care of these bodies, because they say now the lifespan of everybody living, people are living longer. But how are we living? The quality of life. The quality of life. And I already know my kids are going, Mama, you going to no nursing home. No, I ain't. So I got to take care of myself. They ain't going to put me in a nursing home. I'm teasing. But that's what we deal with. Think about all these Alzheimer's and cancers and all of this stuff. Where is this stuff coming from? It's what we're eating, what we're putting on our body. We can remind ourselves about the oil change. We need to detox at least every 3 months, every quarter. And that's what I do. You know, God gives us one body. One. What are we going to do with it? You can drive all the cars you can buy, but you only get one body. You know? So, you know, I'm big on helping and teaching on health and wellness. You know, people always want me to speak on wealth and things like that, tell me about how to make money and all of that. I don't care how much money you got if you're here to spend it. You know, you can have all the money in the world, but who gonna spend it? Who you gonna leave it to? Because the way we living right now, like it's the food's gonna kill us. I think COVID did something. And why did a lot of us didn't make it through COVID? Because of our health. You know, our health. Did I get COVID? Yes. They were like, how you get COVID? Because I'm human. But COVID ain't gonna take me out.
Yeah, I think we didn't have the wake up call, like you said, because people don't monitor their levels. People don't understand. Like, even though it's like somebody's diagnosed with pre-diabetes or diabetes, it doesn't stop them from drinking a 32-ounce Big O at 7-Eleven, not realizing every time you drink that Big O, you really are putting yourself, your sugar levels, your kidneys are getting destroyed. Yeah. But I think COVID came along, and but people don't realize, you know, black people, all those theories and stuff, and it's like, dude, your numbers are so crazy that you're so vulnerable that if something invades your body, you can't fight it off. But we were arguing about it, talking, I don't know if I'm going to take the shot. Yeah. It's not the shot. It's do you know your levels? Do you know and we don't. So.
Right. And like I said, it's the food.
And the food.
The food. Be mindful is that the things that we ate and our parents fed us years ago, it ain't the same. Yeah. It's not the same. It's too many people in the world for them to even grow enough food. They gotta make it. They gotta process. They make it to taste the same, smell the same, look the same, and we eat it and put it in our body. And our bodies was not designed for it. Our bodies was not designed for this stuff that they're feeding us. You know, all of these diseases and things that we're getting. And guess what? When you go to the doctors, they're not going to tell you, okay, well, change your diet, go walking, or they're going to give you a prescription. And then that's going to lead to another prescription, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. Yeah. Now, everybody is judging, what blood pressure are you on? I'm like, what? Y'all really, it's not a game. It's not a game no more. And then we got to teach our kids, you got to teach your kids how to do it, how to live. You know? My kids will tell you, can't say mommy ain't taught us. Can't say mommy. Like when my son was out there in the streets and I kept saying, stop eating from that corner store. He's like, Mom, please, you got too many. Guess what? For 5 or 6 years later, he was diagnosed with all this stuff going on with his stomach, all this stuff. He had to have his he had a lot of stuff going. I said, I told you didn't want to listen. He's like, Mom, I wish I'd have listened. Yeah, I know. Yeah, because especially at those corner stores and those gas stations and all of that, they don't care what they feed y'all. They don't care. You know, but, you know, if anything else you're going to get out of this conference, just, you know, like, let's not only live for another 20, 30 years, let's have optimal health. You know what I mean?
I love it.
Let's live. Let's get on a bike. Remember what we used to do back in the days? You know, let's go. Everybody talk about going back to school. No, let's go back to being a kid, running around the block, playing tag. And that's why I really push pickleball. It's not that okay. It's just that it's the sport everybody can play. Literally everybody. The people that I play with are in their 70s and 80s. You know, they're out there every day playing pickleball. It's a form. Pickleball is just a paddle sport. If you play tennis or any racket sport, you'll be good. You know, if you play ping pong, you'll be good. You know, it's a really, really good sport. I've seen kids out there 6 and 7, and I've seen them out there 80, 70 and 80. So, you know, men and women can play it, young and old can play it. It's just a thing. And everybody's losing weight playing it. I'm like, everybody's shrinking. Because you're moving and you don't realize that you're having fun. You don't realize you're exercising. You know?
Donna Jowers, now, any questions?
Yeah.
Yes, Eartha got questions.
Yeah, Miss Eartha.
I am so grateful for this platform. Every day I wake up, I don't even believe myself, and I'm in you know, like I said, we just study happening. And one of I told Mark when he came here is that I wanted to get a place where I felt that, just like you said, when you go to Baltimore, and I said to myself, why is there all these boarded up houses, all these undereducated kids in my room? So I said, well, let me solve that problem. Let me become a homeowner. Let me become a business owner. Let me educate my child. She has a master's degree. Let me make some money.
Right.
I've done investments. Because I really feel as though we waited for things like COVID to happen.
Yeah.
But we were dying before COVID. That's what you really said. So what happened when they first started talking about COVID, I kind of was wondering, well, the people that was in the nursing home is dying, and then they have a pandemic. But it was a pandemic. That's why all of us was in the hospital, right? So it's the mindset now that I'm looking at what Mark is doing, and why we have to hear from people like we have to get our minds right.
Yeah.
Our minds are not right because
That's it.
How can we be this successful? You know, we're not the average people like you say. Most of us are educated in here, we got money, we done seen things. How do we live in a city that's boarded up? How do we have children that's not educated? How do we, where are we going?
Priorities.
Right,
It's,
priorities.
throughout my success, every time I was making money, I was going back, I was coming involved, I was buying property. So I'm also a successful investor. I own over 30-something properties in Baltimore City. None of my tenants will tell you that I'm a slumlord. None of them. You know, I pride myself, again, I always go back to the way I was living. You know, how I want to be treated, how I wish that they would have treated my mother. You know, of course, some people take it for granted, you know, and they want to live for free. You can't live for free. You know, don't take it lightly that, you got a nice lady for the landlord, make sure you got everything you need and all that good stuff. You know, I'm big on that. You know, just making sure I treat people right. You know, but I'm also big on investments. I'm big on, as y'all can see, I don't know about this mic stuff.
That's good.
I'm big on not just making money, but investing money. You know, because I know what it's like to have it and lose it. You know, I've gone through a period with that. So I'm big on, I invest. People will tell you like I don't buy like, my girlfriend's gonna buy me like name brand stuff. Like, girl, why you still at Target? Girl, why you at Walmart? Because that's what I like. Because I make the clothes. The clothes don't make me. You know, and that's just what it is. But I'm big on investment. I'm big on. That's why I said I wish the kids were here to listen, because you have to save your money. You can't think you're gonna go and start a business and you're gonna go out and buy your car as soon as you make a couple dollars. You know what I mean? I always tell them. You stack and save, stack that dough. I tell them all the time, if I told you I wanted to liquidate 5 properties right now and go ahead and give you it for a nice price, are you prepared to buy? Most of them, no, Miss Donna, no, but why you know, be prepared. Because that's what success is preparation. Preparation and opportunity coming together. And now, okay, you know, so I'm big on, you know, saving and investing. Before you go buy that big car, before you buy all the bling and all that other stuff, you know, invest. How much you got in the bank? You know, my kids, I always told them, when y'all go on trips and stuff and everybody balling out, you better not be buying no table for no $5,000 to $10,000. You know, and you ain't got no house. You know, you got to come back. So they always like, my so-and-so did. I said, did you come back broke? No. You better not. Don't come back broke. You know, trying to impress somebody. No. So, you know, again, priorities and the way we were raised. You know, and that's our culture. Our culture is to impress the next person with what we have on. That's our culture. Do you have any questions?
I did. I just want you to, I love reading you, and I had some people watch you. And I work with young people, and I work in the street.
Okay.
And I just want them to, it's just as an elder.
Yes, ma'am.
As an elder that has such a power-driven, the word is power-driven. And people think knowledge always comes from the Greek, but knowledge is only power if you
Apply it.
So I just want you to give my viewers your name.
Okay.
And I just
Thank you. I appreciate
Because
that.
it makes me feel really good to know that I haven't wasted my time.
Honored. I feel honored. I feel honored. Really, I feel honored to sit in your presence. You don't know is because, like I said, I sit amongst the elders, and I never pray for anything other than wisdom. And I know you got wisdom to give me. You know what I mean? You got wisdom. I'm always pulling. I always say I always come to give. But when I sit amongst people that know I'm pulling, you know, because you've been through it. She ain't read it out of a book. You've been through it. She walked it. You know.
You got to push till you break through.
That's it. That's it. Push till you break through. Yeah.
So just thank you. So give me your name. So
Yes, my name is Donna Jowers. I don't really have like a.
You have a website?
Like I don't, because Mark has pushed me out. Here's the thing, Mark has pushed me out here to tell my story. He pretty much has, like he said, we met online. Well, we met years ago at the gym and everything, but he knows that this is what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
You know, and Mark is a person I have high respect for him and his wife. Because he's a man of integrity. And he's been pushing me to go, it's just like the guy did when he told me to go teach the class on fitness. And I have a lot of gyms now that want me to come in. And I was like, okay, maybe it's time. You know, my kids run the business and everything. I don't mind going to speak and share my story. If it's going to help, you know, somebody else, then yeah, I'll go and tell the story.
So I rep 8. You on Instagram.
It's I rep 8. And let me tell you,
REP 8.
REP. And the reason it's I, the lowercase I, REP 8. And God gave me that years ago. And I still sat on it. And he said 8 meaning new beginnings. So when you go tell the people, tell them, okay, you know, new nutrition, new state of mind, new beginnings, new way of thinking, new way of life. You have to change it here first. You have to change it here first in order for it to manifest. So that's why it's I rep 8. And then also in the workout, it's always 8 reps, 8 moves, 8 minutes. And even when God gave it to me, I'm like, wow, I'm born in the 8th month and the 8th day. You know? So it was just like, it was just mind blowing to me. But again, I'm always like sitting like, oh God, nobody want to hear my story.
Yes, I do. Well, again, Donna Jowers, the question in the back.
I was just curious, like, what was the biggest thing that you learned on your path that nobody told you?
The biggest thing I've learned on my path, well, I would say like dealing with family was one. Is constantly trying to put them in position and put them in the position to be successful. But like I said, they gotta want it, and you constantly investing in them, and it's just like, you know, you can teach what they say. You can teach them. Lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And people say that as a, you know, cliche and stuff, but it's so true with family and friends and things like that. Like I said, they come and they see what you got, but nobody wants to go through that process. And that process, it's lonely. It's solo, you know. But it's the mindset. You gotta want it.
So my last question would be, when you made the first million and you realized you were spending it, who was the best thing you could recommend?
With that $1 million.
To keep the million, if you didn't have investment stuff going on.
Here's the thing: if you got $1 million, you better be investing it, because in 10 years from now, that $1 million ain't gonna be worth $1 million. You know what I mean? But I never really saw the million because I kept investing. So I never really saw, okay, like I got $1 million. You know, my mindset was not to really make money. My mindset was that, okay, and it's crazy because as much as I had, like, okay, make sure we pay the rent. You know, make sure we ain't getting that pink slip. My mindset was just to keep going, because not only I have my kids, I got to make sure I made a way and paved the way for them. I had to let them see that it don't stop. It doesn't stop. I don't care, when you become successful, your goal is really not to make money anymore. It's kind of like, okay, what can I do next? Darn, why I didn't know that was what I was made of. You know, but now it's just like, oh yeah, what can I do next? You know, people, and you know, I don't knock education, but I say my experience of going through all the things that I went through, I wouldn't trade it in. You know, it hurt, it's the pain, you know, of like the lights turned off and, you know, being addicted and those things or whatever. But you know, that's why I'm passionate about helping the next person.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, you've been amazing, Donna Jowers, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Yes. One year, at my office, I bought about 300 bicycles, right? And I gave, for the kids for Christmas. I bought about 300 bikes. And when I tell you, the parents came in there so ungrateful, and that just changed it just messed me up. So I started just dealing with just the kids, when the kids come in, And I had this one guy that we had got out, and nobody could reach him. But when he sat there in front of me, it was heartbreaking, and I started to cry. And he saw that my compassion and my empathy for him, he changed just like that. Because I think he was just used to dealing with people that just talk. Kids gonna size you up. They gonna size you up. Kids size you up, and I always say animals size you up too. They do. Animals know a good spirit, but kids gonna size you up and know about what you say. So, and I have, like I said, mad respect with the kids, with the adults. Can't nobody say I've ever done them wrong. Nobody. Live stream the whole Baltimore City. They gonna tell you. And no, I ain't never did them. I've always, my integrity means everything.
Well, again, Donna Jowers, y'all, amazing keynote speaker. I'm signing her up right now. We're gonna make millions. Now, again, the blessing. The crazy part to me about this is, look how God puts stuff together.
Yeah.
Donna ain't nothing but a female Konan. It's crazy. I know Konan's sitting right there because the part of him, I'm laughing, right? Right, Konan? Konan's sitting there like everything you kind of said. Again, I know Konan, the drive, the focus. Konan, I tease him. He's ageless. Konan looked the same. When I came to 92Q in 2000, this brother looked exactly like this. I'm scared. I don't know what's going on with this brother. But also, Konan, and I know he's tired of telling the story, but so first of all, ironically, I met Konan. They took me to Fox 45, and Konan was doing a commercial. He was working at 92Q, but he was doing a commercial. Later on, if not that day, that same week, Konan picks me up in his Porsche. And, Konan always got all these parties, so he took me to like 3 different locations. I think we did like Silver Spring. I think we did Silver Spring. Then we did Baltimore City. Something used to be a bank. And boom, 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 boom. And so then Konan, so that was like my meeting Konan, you know what I mean? And so the thing about Konan that I always will love, and similar to you, Donna, and again, it's interesting you guys are on the same show. So we did Silver Shadows for many years. And Konan didn't have to, at the time, Konan was one of our top advertisers at 92Q. Konan, I know he's seen millions too, because Konan was spending 6 figures on 92Q back then. He was one of the top advertisers. And so he had Silver Shadows, and like you think about it, he didn't have to, and again, I was thinking about you today too, Konan. So Konan made me a partner at Silver Shadows. He didn't say, hey Mark, because again, you could say it makes sense, Konan, Big Fat Morning Show popular, Konan plugs me into it, and you could easily say, Mark, come out and do Silver Shadows, I kick you down a flat fee, let's say whatever it is, and he now has expanded his market in a sense because you had the morning show. No, Konan made me a partner in Silver Shadows. I'm getting emotional because he didn't have to do that. And I'm talking about, as Donna, business is business. The first couple weeks, it was slow, so I had to go to the bank account to go get the thing. But then when it was rolling, all those years, it was rolling. We were killing it. But I was thinking about this today, Konan. He didn't have to do that. Again, he was established. He could have easily pay me off, but he didn't. Because why? Because just like you said, he wanted to share the wealth. He wanted to show me. Because that's the thing, I didn't get it. Like, I didn't understand, and even to this day, Donna, I'm trying to figure, entrepreneurs are different breeds. Yeah. Konan knew that I was making a nice check for 92Q, but he was trying to get me to understand what the power of being an entrepreneur is. It's much more powerful than just getting a fat check because, as you knew, one day that check's going to run out. And so again, Konan, I love you. He imparted not just that, but all kind of lessons, as far as being an entrepreneur. Just like you, Konan always moving. He always changing because entrepreneurs understand that you can have a great night tonight, but tomorrow might not be a great night. And Konan always was on the side of owning his brand and always something going. And even now, with any idea I have, Konan has never been like, I'm not interested. Every time he's always like, let me hear it. Let's talk about it. Come. So again, you guys have influenced me, you from a distance and you're up close, but I just think again you guys are very similar. And I know everything you said, he was right there like, yeah. So, okay, so Donna, you're going to switch out and Konan, you're going to come up here. Y'all give it up for Donna. This is the millionaire session here. The millionaire session at Motivating Mondays. Again, and so it's similar. It's interesting because, again, I know you, Konan. So what Donna said about fitness and business, you the same way. And Konan will say, when I do my Konan impression, he'll say, because, anything he does, he's going to master. I remember when Konan took up golf. It's just like you. When I saw your picture in a pickleball thing, I'm like, here we go. Because again, these people right here, they ain't going to ever do nothing halfway. If they're in it, they're going in it. I saw her dog. Her big, what's your dog? King Corso, this big old beautiful black man. Ain't gonna be no regular Ricky Dick.
It's crazy she said that because I got the cousin to the King Corso. I got a Press Canario.
Right, and so
What's up that comes from the King Corso?
if y'all don't have these kind of people in your life, these kind of people, they put a certain kind of pressure on you because they're going to get the most out of life. They're going to set a bar. They're going to never take the shorts. I remember when Konan started playing golf, now he's a top golfer. I know because I host the golf thing, and him and his team win all the time. But it's like, that's kind of how he is. So, for those who don't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Konan. Many of you know him from the radio, but you may think you know Konan, but you don't know Konan. And so, you had quite a roller coaster this last couple of years.
Yeah.
I just told them that you had a meeting today. I didn't say the name, but a big important meeting. And I said you may not make it back tonight. But so Konan, tell us, again, your journey. Just take us on your journey. Donna killed it.
Well, like Mark said, I was at 92Q. I've been with Kathy Hughes since I was a teenager. I fell in love with radio, and I never knew, because like she said, I was just working and working and working. I never knew that people would even know my name from radio. I fell in love with radio because of Reading is Fundamental. I did a program called Reading is Fundamental, and I did it in the neighborhood that I was involved with, where I grew up, things I went through in that neighborhood. And this fine young lady walked up to me with her kid. I'm thinking the lady's gonna say something. And the kid hugged me around my leg and said, Konan, thanks for coming to read to us. And the feeling that went from my leg to my heart made me fall in love instantly. Instantly, I fell in love with what I was doing with radio. And it was all about doing stuff in the community. And Ms. Hughes taught me, she said, if you serve the community, they will serve you back. And that is what I always remembered from doing that. So I always stayed in the community. So to cut to where Mark was talking about us going around in my car to these different venues, when he first came to town, what I was trying to explain to him is that you have to be out here. And I'm going to show you, we're going to go to these places, but I'm going to take you into the hood too, because that's where you're going to make an impact. So we went to several spots, and we ended up right off of Chase Street at a spot over there. I went to Volcano. I went to a bunch of different places at the time when he came to town. And bringing him on the Silver Shadows, the reason I brought him on the Silver Shadows is because I understood that being a part of the morning show, we were already doing great numbers, and it was up and down, and nobody thought that anybody from Baltimore would come to Columbia. Even to own that verse, Ms. Marshall's like, well, I don't know how this is going to work. And I was on 92Q. So they were worried about the 92Q crowd at the time. I said, well, my crowd is not the 92Q crowd, because outside of 92Q, I do my own promotion, and I have my own promotions team. I have my own truck. I had a truck, I had Mountain Dew wrap my truck. I had the models, because I started a model agency for my lady at the time. So I built the model agency, and I would invite the models. And I didn't want them to do it for free. I paid all the models $50 to show up. So I don't care how many of them showed up, they all got paid. And then I had a young lady getting emails, and I would pay her $1 email. At first she was like, I'm not doing that for no $1 email. Until we had 800 people in there. And she got 300 emails. And at the end of the night, those emails were worth money, so she made her money. Mark at the time was doing a big fat morning show, and the only reason why I'm telling the story is because I saw what he was doing with the radio station, and I was like, in order for him to be impactful in the community, I'm gonna bring him into the club. And it just so happened it started raining, stuff just happened. It was up and down. But like he said, a couple weeks, instead of me giving, I was showing him what it takes to be an entrepreneur, what you go through. You're gonna have some ups and downs. So instead of me paying it for you, it's in my pocket, but you gotta get your part of the money. You're a partner in that. So he went and got his part of the money. But later on, we started taking bags out of there. He understood the process of growth, because we had to grow through that. And I always tell people, it's one of the things I say, and my mom says it all the time now, you grow through what you go through. You have to go through stuff, because nobody's going to listen to a story from somebody that hasn't done anything. You haven't had any losses. Even people that invest in businesses, Warren Buffett said he's not investing in nobody that hasn't failed in business twice. Because you learn after those failures. Those failures are lessons. And I say we go through lessons and blessings. You just have to be able to decipher which one was the blessing and which one was the lesson. And from the lesson, you have to go ahead and grow from that lesson. Everything that we go through is about evolution. It's about growth. You're never supposed to be stagnant. If you're still where you were last year, then you're not doing something right. That's everybody in this room. If last year's situations are still impacting you this year, you're not doing something right. And you have to search your own soul. What's for you is for you. What she has, what I have, it wasn't for you. But once you go within, and that's meditation, that's prayer, whatever works for you, whoever you pray to, because everything that you need is inside of you. We were all created from the same image. We all have the same thing in us. And if you want to leave a mark, if you want to be historic, if you want to be legendary, if you want to be Oprah, if you want to be Miss Hughes, if you want to be anybody else, you can. But you have to want it. And like she said, you have to want it. You can't be purpose driven and say that your life hasn't changed, but you're doing this and you're doing that. No, you have to go after it every day. It's work. And it takes a long time, like she said. Silver Shadows, when I first started Silver Shadows, it rained the first 8 weeks. And the only thing I put on the side was $10,000. And I told Ms. Marsh, I said, I put this $10,000 aside to make this night work. I got 2 more weeks. And she's like, no, well, you can't just quit. Yeah, I can. Because my budget was this money I put aside. I'm down to 2 more payments. And that's it. I was paying $1,000 a week for the live broadcast of Silver Shadows. And I put $10,000 aside. It rained the first 8 weeks. The 9th week we had 880 people. And I stayed at Silver Shadows for 12 years after that. And everybody thought it was not going to work. But I believed in what I was doing. I want to say something about nutrition, because she talked about that. And I used to say on the radio, wealth is health. It's not money. Because billionaires are now paying doctors for their health again. Because they took their money, they ate sloppy, they did whatever they wanted to do. Eating clean is what you need to do. And what y'all don't know is that since 1985, I have not eaten meat. But the vegan thing, don't do that either. And I'm going to tell you that doctors, Atkins chart was wrong. If you study the eating portion of how you should eat, the Atkins chart is wrong. This vegan thing is wrong. A lot of these things will mess you up because the people that own the pharmaceutical companies control all of that stuff. And that vegan thing for fellas is the estrogen and the soy will give you man boobs and raise your estrogen levels too. Soy is not good for men, and neither is none of that flaxseed stuff, none of that stuff that they try to push to the vegan people. It will change your whole structure inside. Fasting and eating fruit, H3O, all that stuff is where you should be. I don't eat anything except fruit up until 12 o'clock. I don't eat nothing except fruit. And that's till 12 o'clock. And the reason I'm talking about that is because what she was talking about up here is absolutely right. If you do not change your diet, high blood pressure is not hereditary. The reason people have high blood pressure, they all come from the same family because they sat down at the table and ate the same thing. Your children ate what you prepared for them, and you gave them high blood pressure. You blame yourself. Don't blame the doctor. Don't blame no genetics, none of that, because that's not what it is. If you ate hormones, greens, bacon, and all that stuff every single morning and flooded your system, when you first get up, you should drink water. I drink 62 ounces of water as soon as I get up. I got a 32 ounce thing beside my bed that I keep at night. I drink that throughout the night if I wake up, and when I get up, I drink another 32 ounces. Because water is your lifeline. That is it. And doctors, when doctors put you on that bag in the hospital, it's just water in there. All it does is cover your body up. They're not going to tell you it's water, and they're going to charge you for it like it's some type of miracle drip in there or something. They hydrate you first before they do anything else to you. And that's stuff I've been studying ever since I was a teenager. And what happened to me is a brother named Kid Bay. He ran a House of Knowledge. You know Brother Bay? Yes. So Brother Bay ran a House of Knowledge on Georgia Avenue in D.C. I would drive to Brother Bay. I learned about falafel burgers. I learned about everything. And one day he said, look, Konan, he said, I want you to come to this thing. I'm catering. He said, I want you, because he taught me how to eat, him and Dick Gregory. And I thank Ms. Hughes because I told Ms. Hughes, I'm thankful that I was around her as much as I was to meet Francis Corsorells and Dick Gregory, Rosa Parks, all these people. And the list can go on and on. But Brother Bay had me come to this event he was doing. And when I got there, he had all this food laid out. There was no meat on any tray in the room. And the people that walked in blew my mind because he was cooking and catering for Earth, Wind, and Fire. And when Earth, Wind, and Fire walked in that room, there was no meat on any dish in there. And they weren't even vegan, they were vegetarians. That's why they were talking about the age of Aquarius, which we just passed. All their songs were way ahead of their time. They were singing about stuff because they felt it. They were connected to the universe. They were connected to God. And your only connection is eating. When you eat healthy, you can pray for something and ask for something. You connected. You're connected to the source at all times. But if you got junk in your system, you can't connect. Eating candy bars and all that stuff, you can't connect. You're high on sugar. And you don't even know it. Sugar is one of the main cancer causes, and they won't even tell you that.
Can I say something real quick? And sugar really does cause a lot of inflammation in your body.
Yep.
Like, it's real. You know, I mean, I used to be a sugar addict. For the last 2 or 3 years, I really have detoxed my body from sugar. But one time I got sick. Well, I had surgery, and I couldn't figure out. Oh, sorry. Real quick about the sugar really does cause inflammation in your body. All those things and when they say you got bowel inflammatory and all of that, that's that sugar. My husband was recently, he had pain in his legs. He had surgery on his foot as well. And he had pain in his leg. And he's like, I can't understand why this pain coming. I said, did you just eat that whole rack of cookies? No, for real. And he's like, Donna, what that got to do with it? Okay. Realized like it sure was. It was that sugar, it causes so much inflammation in your body. Like we really got, and sugar's in everything. It's an addiction. We're addicted to salt, we're addicted to sugar, we're addicted to so much stuff, y'all. Like we really got to change it because guess what? We got to save the next generation from this food. They think it's okay too to go to Royal Farms and eat. No, you can't eat from these roadside stores and stuff. It's real, but we have to, each one has to teach one.
So I got a question.
My 10-year-old daughter
Well, no, come so they can hit you.
It's how fast the sugar this week. You need a 10-year-old to say, yeah, I'm fast because it's hard.
Yeah, that's
Right.
great, man. That's great.
So, to get back to the sugar thing real quick, they know, and Domino's knows this, and everybody else knows it, that sugar causes cancer in people more than anything else you can eat. And one of the things now, all of a sudden, they come out with all these lawsuits because lawyers are trying to make money. And lawyers don't care. They're going after them.
Right.
But do you know that over 80 herbalists and nutritionists died during the pandemic because they were helping people?
Yeah.
Wasn't because they got COVID.
Yeah.
It's because they were helping
They were
people.
getting assassinated.
You know?
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we can talk about the nutrition thing later. I'm gonna get back to what Mark and I were talking about for those of y'all that want to be entrepreneurs. It's a long road, and it's a lot of free stuff you have to do in order to get to that road. And parties, for me, fortunately for me, doing parties and making investments, helped me in my 20s to have over $700,000 in the bank, and I thought that money would never run out. When I got over $1 million, I wasn't like her. I wasn't just working and not keeping track of it. I was working and keeping track of it because I was happy as I don't know because I was the first person in my family to be able to do something like that. But I did some things that were mistakes along the way, but they were my lessons. I needed those lessons. I don't know if I ever came to the restaurant. I invested and bought into a restaurant called Big Daddy's on Security Boulevard, where the old IHOP used to be. I owned there with a couple of partners. While I was at the radio station, it was stealing every day. Every single day. Then I invested, I bought an apartment building on McCullough Street. And right across from, or in Sandtown, right across from where, before they moved up on the corner, Sandtown office used to be, development office used to be right across the street from my building in the 1800 block. I was right next to, I was 2 doors up from Vern Jones. I got that. I built a house in Southlands Island, and I built a house in Annapolis. And I rented one out to a lawyer. This lawyer calls me one day after he was there for about a year and a half. He calls me, and this is another lesson. I'm telling y'all this because it's a lesson. It's not to brag. This lawyer moved into my house. He got transferred. He was in Prince Frederick. He worked in Prince Frederick in a law firm in Prince Frederick, Maryland. I don't know if any of y'all know what Southlands Island is or Lusby. It's a 2-hour ride from here. So it's going towards Middletown, down that way, St. Mary's County, all that. I go to, he said he was getting transferred, he had to leave. Okay, now I did a walkthrough with my fact sheet and took pictures. I always kept Polaroids for my rentals. Taking Polaroids, this is how the lawn was back in the day. I'm taking Polaroids, and I keep a set, I give them a set. This is how the house looks now, this is how it should look when I come back. I get back, he built a wooden rack in the walk-in closet as soon as you come in the front door. I opened it up, I was like, what's this? Oh, well, the metal rack came off the wall. Oh, okay. Here, you hold that one. You hold this one. Because I made him pay 2 months up front. Deposit. That's part of the deposit right there. Now I know what you're talking about. I'm going, okay, cool. No problem. I walk out my back to my deck. I got a gazebo at the back. My deck is like a fork shape. One part goes to the gazebo, the other part goes to the backyard. I go out back and take pictures. There's an asphalt playground for his daughter in my backyard. Asphalt with a sandbox, swing set, a jungle gym, and you know us. I try to be professional all the time. But I was like, what the hell is this? Well, my daughter needs some. It's a playground up the street. What are you talking about? He's like, well, you know, I'm a lawyer. I mean, I said, listen, your deposit is gone. You get out of my house. Your deposit, you realize you were renting, right? He's like, yeah. So I said, well, listen, you got to go. I was like, that's no problem. I took a couple pictures. I gave him some. I kept some. But that's why I'm saying this is a lesson. Because he wanted to go to court. I got the papers. He didn't show up. He wanted his deposit back. I didn't give him his deposit back. But luckily, he helped me out. Because the next person that ended up buying, because I sold the house after that, but the person that bought it bought it because they had 3 kids and they had an asphalt playground in the backyard. So he ended up helping me out. So that ended up being a lesson on that part. But the apartment building, when you remember when we had that boom in the 90s where everybody was buying houses overpriced?
No, that's 2008, 2007.
Yeah. Sandtown wanted me to come back because I redid this whole building with $160,000. I put it on the market. Stacy Locust Till was from Century 21 on 25th Street was my person that handled that building for me, managed that building for me. She tried to tell me, because I told her, I said, I'm tired of being a landlord because you're not doing your job. I go over there one day, apartment 3, not supposed to have no dogs. Got a full-grown pit bull in there. I'm knocking on the door, all I hear is dog barking. I was just coming to check the building out because I was in the neighborhood. Well, I never really do that, but I went in the basement, laundry, I even put a laundry room in the basement for them so they didn't have to go up the street to the laundry room. I knocked on the door, I said, hey, how you doing? I said, you got a big dog in there, you got a dog? She said, who the hell are you? I said, well, I own the building, I'm just not supposed to have dogs. She said, well, you need to get out of here. Okay, call Stacy. She's like, no, she ain't have no dog. I made her come over there and meet. Girl, I got a big pit bull in there. I said, look, I want to sell this building. Get out of here. I can't do this. You're not doing your job. I put that one in the market for $375. It sold for $345 in 8 days. I never did that again. I'm like her. I do houses. I'm not doing. I thought apartment buildings would be the way to go because I was making so much more money with the apartment building. It was only 5 units. The 2 downstairs were $585. The one in the middle was $685, and the one upstairs was $785. And I had 3 bedrooms back then, and everybody was paying. I was doing close to $3,000. No, $1,300 extra after everything was paid a month. But if you are not built to be a landlord, don't make investments in the property unless you want to keep the property and do something with it. Because it is a job. And if you don't have a good manager to deal with that stuff, you're going to lose money over and over and over again. So part of that is just learning. And the party stuff, getting to the parties, I don't know if any of y'all have been to Volcanoes, 32nd Street Plaza, Hammer Jacks, Silver Shadows. So, yeah, those are my parties. So I did parties in just about every spot that I can think of. I was doing Fridays at Volcanoes when Crazy John owned it at Lee Cross, and we were averaging 800 and something people every Friday. And back then, you would charge $20 at the door, and nobody went. Nowadays, because of COVID and these things that have happened, it's not the same. You can't make the same money. Hammer Jacks was doing 2,500 people every Friday there. So that money, though, I took all that money and I put it into parties and other investments. And what anybody that wants to now get into investing, S&P 500, Forex, but if you don't know how to trade, don't do that. You can put it in stocks and hold it. You can't put it in stocks and pull it out. Not that you want to get hit with some taxes, but you can take it out and reinvest it. Crypto is a real thing. So please don't sleep on the crypto market. We are the last in the United States to understand this crypto thing. There's over 5,000 plus cryptos overseas. And you need to start trying to understand that because in the near future, real soon, they're going to do just like they did with gold. They're going to recall these Federal Reserve notes because this is not money. It's monopoly money. And if you look at your money closely, on the top of it, it'll tell you it's a Federal Reserve note. Does anybody in here know which one of those bills is the most powerful bill that you carry in your pocket?
Gold.
Of course, we should all travel with gold. We should all, because we're all backed by gold.
Yep.
Every single one of us in this room is backed by gold, and they will not tell you that.
Unless you sign it over to you.
Give you the $2 bill.
The 2 and the 1. They're the only ones, if you look at all the other bills in your pocket, the $1 bill is the only bill, and the $2 bill is the only bill that tells you what Federal Reserve Bank it came from. There's only 12. And I studied them. I studied all this stuff after my daughter died. Because I will never, ever, ever get caught like that ever again. My daughter died in 2020, 20 years old. And she was in police custody. I sent her to Florida for rehab. They wanted $30,000 up front to rehab her. 12-week program. She got out of the program, got with a boyfriend who was in rehab, and that's what they suggest you not to do. And she was on the way to the hospital. The police pulled behind her, blocked the car because they had been involved with the police 3 other times, or 2 other times before that, just the 3rd time. In Florida, it is an unwritten rule that after 3 altercations, they let you go. You got to go because you're a liability to them. Because then you're taking them away from. There are 11 police officers on the scene. I got all the reports and everything, but they won't give me the body cams. I even met with the FBI. They will not give me the body cams because they made a mistake, but my daughter made a mistake too. So I studied all this stuff that I'm talking about now, that from the crypto stuff to the money stuff, to find out. Because one of the things that we all have in this room. And the reason I'm telling you this is because if you want to be wealthy and protect your money, you have to understand bonds, trust, and estates. Those 3 things. And the reason I know about trust is because I asked Ms. Hughes to let me borrow a certain amount of money, and I would pay it back in 2 weeks. She said, go to my office and get the check from my assistant. I'm not going to be there. I get the check and it's got TTE. Please don't post this anywhere. It's got TTE on it and some other stuff on it. And I'm looking at the check. So I called her and said, what kind of check is this? I was like, she said, that's my personal check for my trust. I was like, trust? I was like, what? I was like, okay, cool. And I needed it because I had money spread all over on these events I was doing. And my daughter danced her way into Washington Ballet School. So in Washington Ballet School, we had the $25 for Washington Ballet, another amount to stay on the campus, another amount for all her stuff, and all of it. Ballet is expensive. She went to Baltimore School of Jowers, but she danced her way into Washington Ballet. And at that point, I read everything I could read about trust. And I called her back. I said, Ms. Hughes, so why a trust? She said, because I had access to everything and owned nothing. Right. And it clicked immediately. Right. I was like, wow. So all these properties and everything she has, the trust owns it, but it's really hers, but nobody can touch it. So I started studying everybody that has trust, that protect their assets. You can put your kids in the trust. You can put your car in the trust. You can put your house in the trust. They can't foreclose on the house because they got to try to go into the trust. The trust is private. They can't even go in the trust. They can't even take you to court and ask the court to look in the trust. It's illegal. Rockefeller had 79 trusts. 79. Everybody that's a billionaire, I looked into all their stuff because I want to know. I fired one of my lawyers because I found out that there's a code, a 702 code, where you pay no taxes on none of your stuff. And I asked my lawyer, he found a place called Western Mutual. I go to Western Mutual and sit down, and when I sat down, I could tell the guy knew. He sat down with the white guy. Excuse me, sir, you want to know about what? Oh, I don't know about that. Let me go ask somebody. I'll be right back. I said, okay, cool. He came back, he said, so why do you want to know about that? I said, because I got this much money I want to put into that so that I can go ahead and get my defer and use it and do what I need to do. It's just like having a life insurance policy. A whole life insurance policy, you can go ahead. If you get $1 million life insurance policy on your mother or yourself, you can spend money from that, and that $1 million will still be there. You can say, I need $30,000 for my life insurance policy. They got to give you the $30,000 Because you got a life insurance policy that at some point they can pull from that if they need it. And we don't know this stuff. But once I start finding out about all these billionaires that hide their stuff in trust, that's why I laughed when Donald Trump said that and everybody got mad and he said you don't pay no taxes. You don't pay no taxes, it's all in trust. You see what it says in the court? In God we trust. That's a play on words. Everything's in trust. When you go into the court, they'll deal with trust bonds in the states. That's all they're dealing with. Anytime you go to court, it's a lawsuit. If you go for child support, that's a lawsuit. They don't tell you it's a lawsuit. If somebody brings you to court for child support, and ask your lawyer. Don't believe me. Don't believe nothing I'm saying. Call the courts. Ask the lawyer. Anybody else. When you go to court for a traffic ticket or anything like that, it's a lawsuit. That's why somebody got to pay. But when you have problems with police and lawyers and judges, all you gotta do is say, I'm gonna pull your bond. That's how people get bonded out of jail. We are bonds. If you look at your birth certificate, this is how the wealthy keep their money. If you look at your birth certificate or your social security card, the border is a bond. You can look around it. I studied this stuff and I read it. And I stayed in the house because I was heartbroken. I stayed in the house for 2 years. I ain't talked to nobody. I ain't returned this calls. I ain't returned nobody's calls. Because it took my daughter from me. I'm going to figure this system out now. Y'all woke me up. I sat in the house and read everything I could get my hands on. And I found out that all of us are born with $1 million. I wrote the State Department. I put all my stuff on the record with, I almost got Larry Hogan, almost got him locked up. Honestly, God, I'm not saying it to brag. I wrote the Postmaster General because I sent my state papers in to his office, and they opened it and sent it back. Not accepted. Return to sender. You can't open the mail and send it back. Once you open it, you accepted it. Because I'm trying to get my stuff on the record so I can start putting everything I got in trust. After I got my estate established, I put everything else in trust, including my son. The state can't take them back because I took them. Because anybody got their birth certificate of their kid? Anybody? When you look on the bottom of it, when you sign, what does it say?
I can look right now.
Okay. And look at the word beside your name, because I'm going to teach all of y'all something on how they hide our wealth from us, and then they snatch your kids. And they snatch your kids because they're wards of the state, and when you sign that birth certificate, you signed it other than somebody as the mother. And you don't even know it. And it's fraud.
I know.
What does it say?
I know it because I'm an officer in the open court, and I knew about the book birth certificate and the Moore Science of America teaching it as a law class.
Well,
Okay.
Okay.
What is this?
What does it say about you? Because I'm gonna teach you how to get your wealth back. I'm gonna teach you how to take what's yours back, how to take your own personal self back. Because you have the right to get your own personal self back.
Have you researched how to put your debt in a trust?
But what?
Your debt in a trust.
You don't have debt. You're the creditor. I'm gonna blow y'all's mind if you ask me too many questions, because I'm gonna tell you the truth. You were the creditor. You know how you loaned the bank the money? Did they ever give you a check for your house? Ever? You know why they didn't? Because your signature created the money. Your signature created, you are the creditor. And if you don't let them know that you know you're the creditor, they're gonna give you a mortgage. A mortgage means dead sealed. That's death. You never get out of that mortgage. I don't care how much money you got. So the thing is, you can offset that. You can discharge it. You cannot say that it didn't happen because you signed the papers. But HJR 192, that is when they took the gold for everybody. But the government said there is a remedy. You just have to find the remedy, and we will offset your debts. It is written, if you ever read the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution, I read them sitting in the house more times than I can count. But when I learned all this stuff, I started writing the government. I wrote the White House. I wrote the State Department. I wrote every Secretary of State. Woburn Smith was his name. The new lady the new lady as Secretary of State now is Susan Lee. I write everybody. Because you know what I do? After I write them 3 times, I send them an affidavit. And they better write me back after that. Because if they don't write me back and answer point for point, now I can put them in default. Now I really get to claim what I want. You have to take back what's yours, and that's the only way you're going to be wealthy and keep your wealth. All of these people, the Kennedys had 21 trusts. And in their 21 trusts, they made sure that they poured all their money from the birth certificate. Each of Joe Kennedy's children got $1 million as soon as they turned 21. Because he had already owned their birth certificates. What does it say? Who are you on the birth certificate? What do you sign?
It says, I certify that the personal information provided on this certificate is correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. Signature of parent or other employer.
You hear that? You heard what they called you? The last word you said.
Other informant.
That's what you are. An informant. So the informant turned the kid over to me. Not the mother.
So parents or other informant.
Huh?
So it's saying the parent is an informant.
For the United States of America, the corporation. So the wealthy people, the queen was probably the wealthiest person on the planet. And the reason is because she owns the Crown Corporation. And this goes really deep. Like I said, I stayed in the house and I read everything I could read once I lost my daughter because I had nothing else to do. I was drinking and reading. I ain't gonna lie. I was drinking and reading. But when I started running across all this stuff and reading it over, I was like, oh, they got the wealth. When they took the gold, they said, we owe you, but you have to find the remedy. It says it in the books and stuff that I've been reading. I was like, what's the remedy? So I started writing. I'm writing everybody. I need answers. And if you don't answer me back, I'm sending you an affidavit. Because I want to know. All of us have money at the State Department, with the government, and it's ours. We, the people, in the Declaration, in the Constitution, I am so thankful that I kept reading because the founding fathers knew that they were going to take our wealth. They knew that. Because there has not been any more laws since the laws, and I found this out, our wealth is held in the laws. There have been no new laws since the Constitution. Everything else is statutes and amendments. And if you know the codes for the statutes and amendments, that's the remedy. They can't do that to you. I never paid the traffic ticket. Because I go to court. And I show up with the statute and amendment as not law. All you gotta do is ask the judge because, for the record, Your Honor, because you're trying to extract money from me, which is illegal, what is the law for moving violation? Can you show me what the law is? That's all you gotta ask him. Because now it's on the record. He can't. He's gonna show you a statute or amendment. I can't go by that. I need to know the law. So guess who has to pay? The police officer and the lawyer. That's why you want somebody to show up. Because everybody has to pay. Because you know what they're doing in court? Commerce. Courts are about commerce. It's not about law. And when I start reading this stuff and it says the court, the judge is an administrator. The clerk is the most powerful person in the room. because she appoints the judge as the administrator. And he's administrating because he knows the law and the legalese. If you go into court, anybody, and you try it, you go into court and say, I don't understand, they're going to take you out of court. Because when you say you understand, it means you stand under their law. It's a play on words. And our wealth has been taken by them. I had showed my brother. My brother thought I was crazy. He thought I was on some BS until he put his kids in trust.
Wow.
The state can't come knock on his door. His ex can't come knock on his door. Can't nobody take your kids once you put your, and that's the only way you can protect your kids. The only way.
That includes student loans. Because I, like you said,
Do what?
Student loans. You said your brother thought you were crazy. My husband does that as well. He sounds like he does exactly what you're talking about. He sent letters and affidavits to the government about his student loan, and they removed all of it.
Absolutely. They have to, because he figured out the remedy. In the Constitution and in the Declaration of Independence, it tells you there's a remedy for you to protect your wealth. It's our wealth. The United States government. You know what happens when you go to an interview or something, or you sign for a car? They automatically get those funds from the feds. The Federal Reserve sends that dealership the full payment for your car. If you stop signing and get up and walk out and take the keys, there's nothing they can do. But if you sign the rest of it, because the first paper you sign is for ownership. After that, they make you sign other papers to lock you into their terms and agreements. You're supposed to stop after that first paper. But you have to read. Don't do what I do. You got to read to understand it. But I don't pay no bills. I learn the system. I haven't had an electric bill come to my house in almost 3 years. Since my daughter passed, 2021, I sent BGE their voucher back, properly signed, properly endorsed, and I endorsed it back because if you look at it properly, everything is designed to keep you on a hamster wheel. If you pull the bottom of the perforated part of your BGE bill off, and you write money order on the top, and then look at it, it looks just like a money order, right? Because you got to fill the rest in. Because that's exactly what it is. I did it.
So, Konan, for those of us who ain't as smart as you,
it's not being smart. It's like she said, it's about reading.
Well,
and I sent Form 56. Anybody know what Form 56 is?
No.
It's an assignment of fiduciary responsibility. I sent that to the CFO just before I sent my other stuff in. I sent them a tender payment explaining how they're supposed to do it, to send it to the Treasury for deposit, and I filled it out and mailed it in and sent him a Form 56, and I sent a letter saying, if you do not send this back, that means you have accepted the terms of this agreement. And he did not send it back. My electric bill came maybe, I don't know, 6 months later, like $3,000 something. I called. I said, hey, why do I have an electric bill? It was like, so you haven't paid your electric bill, we're going to cut your electricity off. I said, okay, cool. I called and asked to speak to the CFO down on Fayette Street. Said I couldn't talk to him. He's in Philly. I tracked him down, tracked his office down. I told them they better look in their files and see my paperwork that I sent to them, or I was going to hold him responsible in his private capacity. That was the only word I used. Got a call back. He said it's been a mistake. I have not paid the electric bill since 2021.
wow, that's amazing. Konan told me this in the car, but again, I'm not a smart man, so I was like,
Everything I learned, though, I used to tell Mark first.
Yep.
Because I wanted him to understand, because he got girls. And I was trying, he and his wife would do well. And when he was at Big Fat Morning Show, he was doing really well. So I was trying to tell him once I started learning about putting my money away, I was, like she was saying, I was investing in stocks and stuff when I was in my 20s. I had a company called Edward Jones. I bought Polycom. Polycom is a conferencing center that all the big businesses are using. And I put money in the Polycom. I put money into Texas Instruments. I put money into Home Depot, Microsoft. I missed Google. I started to put some money in Google. I missed that. But I put money in Microsoft, and Microsoft is $32 a share. And I bought a bunch of shares. And I just let it sit. I got 2 companies now that one of them is the company that makes those towers that you see all the phone things around.
5G.
Huh?
5G tower.
Yeah. But the company that makes those towers is leasing space on those towers. They just got a new contract with the military, and they got the contract for all of Africa. And I bought them when they were $7 a share. And I bought as much as I could, as much as my pocket could stand, at $7 a share. So there's only 2 companies I invested in. I invested in an AI company because I knew they were coming, and I invested in that technology company for the 5G stuff. We're the last with 5G. China beat us to 5G, and China owns the rights to 5G. That's why Donald Trump was trying to tell y'all the truth. I did not like Donald Trump, and I did not vote for Donald Trump, but Donald Trump was telling presidential secrets, and that's why they got him out of it. He was telling the truth about a lot of this stuff. China, and the only thing he lied about was that mom-baked bat stuff, but Donald Trump was not presidential at all. He did not know how to speak well, but he was trying to tell you, because he has kids, that they are stealing your wealth. Donald Trump gave more money back to black universities than any other president ever elected. And you can Google that and find out. And that's why he said he did more for blacks, but it was the wrong words. I'm like, you idiot, you don't know how to talk. Who writes your stuff? But when he found out that they were taking all that money from black universities, all the HBCUs, he made them give all that money back. And nobody knows that, because the man talked so crazy. When he said he did more for you than Obama did, he did. Unfortunately, he did, because I went and read all the paperwork. I was like, this man gave the black universities all their money back. And then on top of that, he said Obamacare put you back in this, because if you learn how to get out of the system, when you sign up for Obamacare, you put yourself back with the government. If you were ever on a program and you learn what I just told you about, to get back, get your birth certificate and all this stuff back, so you can protect your wealth, when you sign the Obamacare Act, it puts you back in operating under the government. That means you can only be taxed if you're getting a privilege or a benefit from the government. And if you accept either, that's a privilege and a benefit. And when I started reading all this stuff, I found out I was blowing my mind. Because I voted for Obama both times. I love it. And he did a lot of great things, so don't get me wrong. But Donald Trump started telling on all the other people and telling the truth about a lot of stuff he was crazy stuff. I did not vote for him, I don't like him, but I had to do the fact check to make sure that what people were saying was true. My brother told me, actually. So, any questions? Because I can go on and on and on.
If you had a choice, who would you go for tonight?
Between who? Obama, of course, 1,000%. What Obama did was what he thought was the best thing for people that did not have health care. He did not realize he was putting people back in the system. I don't think he had the advisors to tell him that. Obama's smart. But when you're president, you're the CEO of the Corporation of the United States. That's really what you are. So your budget is for the entire United States of America. So you can't catch everything. So that's why you have a secretary, an assistant, an executive assistant, and you got the president got 10 people that just deal with just him, and everybody else deal with all the other stuff.
So from what I'm hearing, I try to hear everything from a spiritual component. I know that the cryptocurrency, primarily Bitcoin, is a mechanism that has been implanted for us to get free from the oppression that we do have economically, if we know how to profit. Yet, when you mentioned the birth certificate, from what I'm hearing you tell us, we each are worth $1 million to the government.
Absolutely. And if you weigh more than, if your baby weighs more than 10 pounds, it's worth more. That's why they make a big deal whenever a baby's over 10 pounds, it makes news. Have you noticed that?
Right, right. And so we're dealing with systems that are already in place that operate from a legal standpoint or business standpoint for a corporation. And we're not recognizing that because we're on the other side of that equation, but we're the ones that they're using as far as, I guess,
we're collateral.
We're the currency.
We're the collateral for the Crown Corporation. You can Google it. Anything I tell you, don't believe me. You can Google Washington, D.C. as a corporation. Right. Washington, D.C. is the corporation of the United States. That's why the headquarters of Washington, D.C. is, the White House is in Washington, D.C. Right. You know where the first headquarters was? Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Philly was where George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, everybody stayed first, before Washington, D.C. I'm telling you, I read so much, man, my head was about to bust when I started finding this stuff out. If you look up the Crown Corporation, you'll see that the Crown Corporation was ran by England and the Queen. That's why the central bank comes from over in the UK.
Wow.
Yes.
How you doing, Philly?
How you doing?
Basically, I wanted to know, could you give us like the name of your stock, number one, and are you familiar with your currency? I think it's on the Ethereum. It's called. It sounds
I own Ethereum. I have Ethereum. I have a lot of Ethereum.
Okay. What would you suggest as far as, is that cheap now or has it gone up?
I looked at it today.
Ethereum or your currency? Which one?
Ethereum. It's the second biggest one next to Bitcoin, but it's affordable.
But I'm talking about your currency. How are you spelling it?
I look in my right.
I'm not saying Ethereum. I'm saying urine, like yellow urine.
Urine?
A lot of people don't know about it.
Urine? You saying like urine?
Yeah.
Like URIN?
But that's not how you spell it.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, because
But I know that.
supposed to be the next. Like my brother keeps telling me, just go ahead and invest. But
No, don't go ahead and
there you
invest.
go.
Do your own research.
Yeah,
I didn't invest in crypto until I started understanding it. I left crypto completely alone. But we are the last. The United States is the last to go crypto. But crypto is going to replace the Federal Reserve notes. And I don't know how soon, but I know they say about 2030,
Right.
something going to be in place. Because they already putting out the ATM Bitcoins and all that stuff. So China had it first. All the foreign countries is over 5,000 cryptos, and when I had to slow down because I was going too fast. I thought I'm gonna get left behind, and I want to protect my wealth. Because when they come get these Federal Reserve notes, and they will, just like they did the gold, because now we're losing value.
Right.
Have y'all heard of BRICS?
Yes.
Y'all know what BRICS is?
Yes.
What is it?
Okay, so BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. What BRICS is doing is that they're helping many African countries build up their infrastructure.
I'll tell you go ahead. Come get the mic, because they need to hear this. This is real stuff. Because when a dollar, when they snatch this dollar from you, this is what's going to happen.
Okay, so BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And what they're doing now is they're helping many of the, what you would call third world countries, build up their infrastructure. For the longest time, Europe and the U.S. have really been having a really, really bad and, I guess you could say, a really bad relationship with many of the African countries. BRICS has come in and said, hey, we want to help you build up your infrastructure, and we're going to help you get to a place where you're no longer dependent on these European countries who have had a bad relationship with you all this time.
Well done.
So I'm gonna break that all the way down.
All right.
So BRICS, that's why they're not messing with Russia and Ukraine, because they created a superpower that's going to collapse the American dollar. What they're getting ready to go do is go to a gold standard in crypto. They killed Gaddafi because Gaddafi was already went to a gold standard and had the African countries. What the United States and the UK has done to Africa is denied them the right to do import, export, and build their own stuff and export it out to make money. So they've kept them stagnated because they want to buy the resources, where all the resources, the lithium, I invested in a lithium company because the lithium is for all these cars. And they have taken all the lithium from Africa. They're raiding the Congo right now. You don't hear about none of this stuff that they're doing in Africa. They're taking everything out of there. And when the BRICS stood up, Biden can't do nothing. The UK can't do nothing. Nobody can do anything except watch, because they formed a superpower. NATO was trying to, you know what? We might as well just leave them alone. They got the biggest group of people, especially with China involved and South Africa. There's nothing they can do. And there's more African countries that have wealth, like Nigeria has unimaginable wealth. And they scared of them. Nigeria don't need nothing from nobody. Not the United States and nobody else. They got all their own money, everything. But I want y'all to understand where this wealth gap is going to be. They are not going to have a middle class. They don't want a middle class. They want rich and they want poor. That's how it is in Russia. Either you got money or you don't. All these other countries, this new word order y'all been hearing about for everything, people talk about this reset, you reset yourself. Don't wait for no reset. After the night, reset yourself. If you really want to put yourself in position, and I don't know, it's easy to find me on Instagram. I will give y'all information, but I'm not going to do it for you. I told my brother. My brother was like, well, help me with, no, I'm not going to help you do nothing, because if you don't do it right, you're going to blame me. Put your kids in the trust. Here's what you read. Here's how you do it. You got it. And then send it into the government.
And let me say this in all fairness, Konan. I don't want you to think I have not listened. So, two things. We do have, like you said, our house. We do have a trust. We actually, it happened, it's like a tale of two cities. My mother died in her little house that she was so proud of, and we lost the house. Allison's parents passed away, and as a precursor, we put it in a trust, and so we're able to, the last wishes, have it divided how you want to divide it. It's all done. It's in the trust. And then we also, because we did it for Allison's parents' house, we did it for our house, right?
There you go.
So everything's in the trust.
So you don't tell the truth.
Yep. And then the other thing is, like Konan said, the whole life insurance. Now, everybody, especially in the vote, now the whole life insurance piece, like Konan said, is amazing. It's just information, but you don't have access to information. But this information changes your life. So, whole life insurance, like Konan said, the Rockefellers, the wealthy, they put all their kids under the whole life. Mm-hmm. Why? Because you can take a loan against the whole life and you don't get penalized until you die.
Right.
So, and if you take a loan against the whole life and you invest in real estate, you can put the profit in your whole life. And so, all this stuff is there. And so, imagine but now you got to pay for it though. You got to pay for it. But again, if you have kids, this is the time. Sit down with a reputable company, talk about whole life, and this could be, because you always wonder how rich people tap into wealth. Yeah. Well, if my kids, let's say in theory, I put my 3 kids in a whole life when I first started at 92Q. So now it's 2023. I want to buy some land. I can pull 40,000, 50,000, whatever from the whole life insurance, buy that, and we won't even get penalized. So that's how the wealthy do it. So anyway, I'm listening, Konan.
No, I'm going to say the reason he can do that is because guess what? Now he's the bank. He pay himself back when he get ready. If he don't put the money back, it just comes out when somebody passes. Who's ever on that life insurance? So that's how you become. You be hearing people talk about becoming your own bank, but they want to charge you for it. I give this stuff away because I'm all right. You just need to be able to absorb it. I'm glad that Eartha and Mark had me come here because sometimes this information, I can't say it on the radio, but they're going to come snatch my ass off the radio. Feds, everybody. CIA, FBI. I had a Secret Service knock on my door one time. Scared me to death. Because I sent letters to everybody. I sent affidavits to everybody. Nobody's exempt. Everybody's bonded. You can get a judge locked up if you know how. And if you pull their bond for them lying, they lose everything. Their bond protects them. If you pull their bond, they lose their retirement, they lose their job, and they can't never get another job because they don't have a bond to back them up. Each one of us in here is bonded. That's why they used to have the bail bondsman. When the bail bondsman, they realized we give the bail bondsman the game. We got to get rid of bail bondsman.
Wait a minute.
We let them know that they can bond people out because everybody's bonded. And she worked more now. Oh yeah, her bond is worth more. The longer you live and the longer you do your stuff, your bond, your money goes up. The more you do for yourself and for what you do, you raise your value. And don't let right now, the insurance company is just trying to talk about term life. They're not going to talk to you about whole life. They're going to talk to people in Lutherville about whole life. They're going to talk to people in Cockeysville about whole life, or premium life. But they're going to talk to you about term life. And tell them, I don't want no damn term life. I want whole life. I want something. I want to be my own banker. Tell them that. And scare the hell out of them. What she have?
Yes, I'm Audrey. I am a Life 6 insurance agent for the state of Maryland, and I wanted to clarify something about what you said about the whole life. Are you familiar with something called IUL, Index Universal? Are you familiar with that?
Not that one. No.
Okay, so Index Universal Life, that's the difference between what you're saying for a whole life policy. The Index Universal Life allows you to do what you just said. There are some penalties attached to you if you take the money out with that whole life policy, but not with the IUL. That's the difference.
All right, we need to get it covered then. But give me the information, I'm going to read it. And I'm going to call you back and I'm going to get it.
Absolutely.
I ain't going to wait because I know what I've been able to do with it. Yes.
I'm glad you made that point. Information is power, but you're one that says it time and time again. And I believe you at Konan. People need to be held accountable. My problem is that what we're saying is not new. But
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to make this point because Konan is here and you're here. Guys, we hear this information all the time. We don't hold ourselves accountable. There's no need to keep asking somebody for a solution if you're not going to utilize it, right? Because even back then, when I first met you, Konan, when you was talking about health, I've seen you on many platforms doing the thing. I've seen Mark, he's been on Radio 1. We talk about Edwin. We talk and talk and talk. No, what we have to do is what we do here on Thursday. We get testimonials, right? I own a home. Home fully paid for and everything. My child is educated. You know what I'm saying? I got this building. What we need to do is start paying attention. When someone says something, pay attention. The Moody twins came to me with the crypto stuff. I know them personally. I know their father. They did the tribute here. Paul Mooney's tribute at Moody. Nah, I ain't investing in that stuff. They said, come on. We hated that you go out here, fight the power. You want to do all these black liberation things. You ain't got the money. And I was like, but I love my people. They said, I don't care. Where your money? I literally gave these dudes $100. $100 for me. These are the Mooney twins. They was he and all the folks. And then, because he's talking about new systems, I didn't know how to get it in the platform. Because there's the different ways you have to, when you start investing, like he said, if they don't walk me through it, I had to figure out, I got to take the US dollar, then I got to turn it to Bitcoin, and then I got to get this address and put it in this one. So I was getting confused. These two powerful men stayed on the phone to put $100. Because you know what they told me? It's your mindset. They said it ain't even $100. It's your mindset. You got this mindset that you don't know that there's abundance of money out here. There's billions of trillions of dollars out here, and you scared to lose $100. And they were right, Konan. You see what I'm saying? And we don't want to sometimes to look at the mirror and say, hey, Konan, I'm scared to lose $100. I want that big shot, but I'm scared to lose $100 because I'm struggling. And so he's saying, you're already losing $100. You go buy makeup and clothes and this, and you didn't think that was losing? Where the money you made off your money? Friday, I got paid $3. I posted that on social media. People laughed at me. $3. They're like, I thought, this is amazing. I never made money off my money, Konan. I've always been a consumer. I never made money. I didn't know nobody. When that $3 popped up and I saw that I still had $100, I was amazed. I went all the way up to $40,000. I took $30,000 out. And I'm talking about, this is what they helped me make. I got another $20,000 in this account because one of the things that made me scared, that now I'm not scared anymore, I was wondering, what if something happened to it? So something did happen to it because these platforms come and go, right? So, but guess what? I don't worry about that no more. You know what the Looney Tunes and them do? They said, go make another $30,000. Go make another $100,000. If you made $100,000 and you lose it, then go make $200,000. Because if you don't have the mindset, Konan, that you always worrying and thinking about the money that you lost, and I'm glad that we do the platform like this because some of us, just like me, I never was exposed to $1 million, right? So when I meet somebody and say, you lost $100,000, well, let me show you the $1 million. So they get on there, Fraser Net and all of those guys, they get on there and they show you that they lost millions of dollars. But what they're talking about is what you're talking about, Konan. I'm going to keep seeking the information because the United States is lying to us, and this is not it. The United States is lying to us, and they make everybody stay in these jobs, and we work, thinking that one day we're going to retire, and we did all of these little safe steps where they study global. They know that you got a global system that's fighting against this American system, and that's why you have to pay attention because people are tired of the U.S. They're tired of this U.S. system lying to us, cheating us out of stuff. We had Ray Winbush here. Ray Winbush is a professor up at Morgan. We still should be talking about reparations. We still haven't got prepared for the damage that we've done. So don't care what we do when we get all this wealth, but we still should be focused. We were damaged, and we haven't gotten repaired. So I like the fact that, Konan, that you again are offering the opportunity to help us out. And I just want to encourage people that please, whatever information that we get from the both of you guys, we use it. Like you said, it's our responsibility to know, go take that information, read your birth certificate, go look at an investment, go put your stuff in the trust. Don't come back here, because we're going to have testimony coming in for you. Don't come back here and not tell me that you have utilized some of the things that he has said here to make sure that we benefit. Thank you.
How to put it in the trust.
Real quick. She said something wrong, and that's why the government laughs at us. They never, please read the Constitution or Declaration of Independence for yourself, for your children. There's no such thing as 40 acres and a mule in any of those documents. There's no such thing as reparations in any of those documents. It says naturalize, colonize, and get compensation. You have to do those three things. Being a Jew is not a religion. Jewish people have done those three things that the Constitution said you have to do to get their money. The Indians did those things. We are the only people that became consumers and did not do those things. In their writing from the founding fathers, naturalize, colonize, and get compensation. That's exactly what it says. And if you go to the document, you'll see that it says that. That's the only way you get your money. you have to be out. You have to create a jurisdiction that you live in, like to naturalize and colonize. You have to say, for example, you got.
Like the Indians did out
Yeah. But it's different. If you and your family decide y'all going to have a town in Lutherville, what Kanye's getting ready to do? They scared of him because he bought all that land and he can do those three things: naturalize, colonize, and get compensated. They're going to pay him up the wazoo for that land that he got. Because once he does that Sunday church thing he has, put all those people on his land, he's done what the Constitution asked him to do. So they have to pay him. Whatever amount he says is worth, they got to give him the money. Because it's in the writing, it's in the law. And all those things that I learned, it's been inside of me, and I only share it with a few people because people look at you like you got two heads when you give them this information, because we've been conditioned and programmed to believe that what you hear from another person is a lie. All now that Google is around, y'all better Google this stuff. Don't believe me. Right now, they tricking you with this plant-based stuff. Do you know they switched up and said now they allow these factories to say plant-based if it's made in a factory plant. In a factory plant. Not made out of plants that come from the ground.
Also, it's interesting what they did with the new chickens. The new chicken thing is, so it's not available on store shelves, but they're selling it to restaurants. What the hell is that? Like, so you don't know what you're getting in a restaurant, but you never do that anyway.
So another thing y'all need to Google, because they're going to play with your food in a minute. And, yes, they are. So if it don't have a seed in it, don't buy it. Ain't no such thing as a seedless fruit. Fruit comes from seeds. So if you eat something without a seed in it, you eat GMO. And right now, Bill Gates is buying up more farmland than anybody in the world. Not just in the United States, anybody in the world. I don't want to go on and on because I can keep talking.
How about the marijuana stuff?
The marijuana stuff is because they figured out how to tax it. When my father used to run numbers, my father said as soon as they figure this out, how to tax it, I ain't going to be able to run no numbers. So those things, as soon as they figure out how to tax anything, it becomes legal. They just got to figure out how to tax it. Yes, sir.
King.
Thank you, brother. You mentioned that you were sending the letters to public, political officials.
No, I didn't know. I sent it to the State Department. I sent it to the governor.
Right.
I sent it to the Secretary of State. I sent it to the attorney. I can name everybody I sent my stuff to by name.
But what letters were this? Because then you said after you sent the letters, then you would send an affidavit if they didn't respond.
Well, what I do is I sent my estate papers to Larry Hogan.
And the state papers are what?
My estate papers named everything that I wanted to get ready to put in my trust. My estate papers formed who I am. I own me. I trademark and copyright my name, my likeness, everything. That's on record. That's why I sent it to him. Because if I'm going to do a trust in my name, it already has to be it has to have a book and page number at the courthouse. So that means it's public record now. Okay. So my estate papers, when I put those in with the trademark and copyright on me. So if they can do anything, if they give me a ticket and decide they want to write my name without my permission, they infringing on my trademark and copyright, because my name is my name. You can't put my name on a ticket and tell me to show up someplace. That's how the wealthy people do it. You ain't never gonna see Donald Trump in court except for this stuff they trying to do to him now. You ain't gonna see Barack Obama in court. All those people in Capitol Hill, they know this stuff. They do this stuff for themselves. All of them get locked up for messing with these kids and stuff. They don't get. I don't want to go on.
Okay, so yes, sir. As we wrap it up with first of all, let's give Konan and Donna a round of applause. These two right here,
going on like that, y'all.
These two right here. Donna, what did I say? What did I say when it started? Didn't I say the special moments happen? Is it the people or the room? What is it, Donna?
I think it's a combination of both.
So you two, again, special people, and thank you for sharing.
I thank you for having me, but I apologize because there's some stuff that.
Can you announce how to
Oh, now you're going to put me to work. Taps already, y'all. We got the Silver Showers reunion with Kenny K, Mike Crosby. Let me see. DJ Tons, Biscuit. Is that Movie? Yeah, so I'm hosting, so it's going to be a lot of us there. So y'all make sure y'all come on out. That's going to be August 13th at the Taps Arena. That's on a Sunday.
Ready, Earl? We'll wrap up. Yes. Last question.
I got 3 questions. One, who do you use for security right now?
You said what?
Security right now. Security.
Who do you use for security?
Who do I use for security? I don't use security. I'm my security.
Ready, Earl? Don't play with Konan now. Go ahead now. Go ahead.
And 2, when you write off for the trust situation, and it comes down to your driver's license, you actually include that in there, or do you leave that out?
I don't drive with a driver's license. It's not necessary. I drive my passport. It's more powerful than a driver's license. I keep my passport in my back pocket. I don't have a driver's license.
Don't try this at home until you've done your own research.
I can tell you why, but it'll be a whole other story.
So, once again,
I don't go to motor vehicle, I don't do none of that.
Can you give us your Instagram and
I am Konan 11. IAMKONAN 11. If you're going to pay for something to drive with, pay for a passport. Because that's accepted everywhere around the world. Your driver's license is not. And it is not mandatory. It's not law. Look it up. Look it up as a law. Because they can't do nothing to you. Police can ask you to go to court for not having a driver's license. Go to court and tell them to show you the law. That's all. You don't even have to be belligerent. See, because if you argue in court, the reason people lose in court is you create an argument. An argument is only for lawyers. Or you plead. I never plead, I never argue, and all I do is ask for the law. And I stick to that. If they try to ask me another question, I'm not going to argue with you. Where is the law? Just show me on the record where the law is that I have to have a driver's license. I don't want to see a statute of amendment. Show me the law. I had my passport, they looked at it, they said I didn't have my driver's license. I'll leave.
Konan, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Konan. Give it up for Donna. Give it up for yourselves. Amazing. Give it up for Vince in the building. I see you.
And by the way, I switched. I'm not on 92Q no more. Check me out on 1995.9. All right, so from 3 to 7 on Saturday and Sunday, and during the week I work with Miss Hughes. So.
And also look for the supplement. Donna and Konan are going to have a supplement to Save Forever Young. Y'all have to market that together. Forever Young. These 2 people are 50 plus, you know. These people are 50 plus. Amazing. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. This is the place to go.
Konan, when you're passionate about something, you do
How you doing, bro?
Hey guys, we got Chef Mo in the next room. Chef Mo.
Oh yeah. How you doing, bro?
Konan, you gotta come out to my man's. He's got acres.
Yeah, that's why I came, because I heard
He's got. Well, Konan, we need to come see him. He basically they just had a tragedy. His family's in horse racing, so they lost. His grandfather, you know, Isaac Murphy, the Isaac Murphy, the racer, the black jockey. That's his grandfather owned the horse. They won. Yeah, no problem.